These words found me this week. They're not because I haven't been thinking about them, because probably we all have, but I got a frantic text message from a friend. I got a call from my gardener's daughter. It went. He was picked up by ICE while he was working at a friend's house. He's been working for us for decades. We've gotten to know his family well. 2 of his kids are in college. He's been in this country for 27 years. No criminal record. He's just a gardener. His daughter then called us in hysterics. They don't know where he is or what to do. So my friend, God bless them, both of them, is helping the gardener secure legal counsel. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll do much good. The undocumented housekeeper of a friend of mine is raising her granddaughter, who is a U.S. citizen. The grandmother has sole custody. The girl's father was deported years ago. Her mother is abusive. The housekeeper is terrified that she'll be deported and leave this 15-year-old alone. Despite 30 years of living in the U.S. without so much as a driving infraction, she hides in her house behind closed doors. So other than driving from her home to her employer, she is in a self-imposed prison. I spoke with someone who has built a hidden dormitory behind his factory. When he discovered that many of his employees, most of whom are here legally or with certain papers, were sleeping in their cars overnight rather than risk getting picked up on their way home, he acted. I should add that the factory owner is a South African Jew. Roundups, masked men entering places of business, arrests at parks and playgrounds and hospitals, religious institutions, children at risk of losing their guardians, a catch-22 of an intentionally convoluted legal maze blocking due process. We Jews have seen this movie before. When the boundaries of a country's established laws and norms are overturned, all in pursuit of some vision of nationalism or a manufactured fear of the other, well, the very fabric of the country begins to be torn apart. We Jews have seen this movie before. We've seen it in Nazi Germany. We've seen it in the USSR. We've seen it in Iran. We've seen it in McCarthyism in this country in the 50s. Now, let's be really clear. Successive U.S. administrations have established policies and laws and practices that have been established and strengthened to protect human rights, even as they pursued and recognizably unsuccessfully secure borders. Whether Republican or Democrat, even during times of heightened deportations, the desire to keep families together, to protect children, to provide asylum to victims of persecution, and importantly, to process deportees within the bounds of the law, that has always been a principle. We are living during a time when those norms are breaking down. In 2011, the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, established a so-called sensitive locations policy. ICE agents have long been prohibited because of that policy from entering medical centers, from entering educational institutions, from being in places where children gather, from entering social service centers, places of worship, funerals, weddings, at public demonstrations. And this is really important. They've been prohibited from picking people up in government buildings for a couple of decades. In January of 2025, by executive edict, all those policies were overturned. Now, masked or unmasked ICE agents can snatch people up everywhere, and they have. They've entered schools, they've entered playgrounds, MacArthur Park, they've disrupted weddings, and they've even grabbed people as they lawfully appear before judges to adjudicate their immigration cases. Highest on its website, under know what you need to know about immigration policy, says that in September of 2025, as of September of 2025, 60,000 people are being held in detention in this country. 70% of those people have no criminal records whatsoever. 93% have never been convicted of a violent crime. Now, few of us would make the case, and I am not one of them, that after due process, criminals have no right for residency in this country. So let's stipulate that. But these massive and indiscriminate deportations have undermined the very backbone of our economy and, in some ways, our society. From those who get food on our tables, whether they're farm laborers, food workers, chefs, or waiters, to those who care for our homes and our families, or the gardeners, the housekeepers, the nannies, the construction workers, there's hardly an area of our lives that has not been affected, that is not undergirded by immigrant labor, and thus has not been affected by the deportations. I was chatting with one of our Y security guards. He's an American citizen of Mexican descent. He told me that many in his family are terrorized. They're in fear of being deported, of families being separated, of livelihoods being destroyed. And he said, I voted to get rid of the criminals, but not like this. So we hear from people, well, I came here legally, or my family came here legally, and so should they. So here's my response. Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather did come here legally. By some quirk of luck, the immigration official from the United States in Germany gave my grandmother a visa. It went well for my family. Didn't go so well for another 6 million. It's because of that, because we know what happened to the people who didn't get visas, that we as Jews should be advocating, and I advocate for people who need to be here to get visas. Why shouldn't they get the same chance my family got? In fact, given what this country gave my family, it seems it's my responsibility to share it with others, my obligation to share it with others. And despite all the rhetoric to the contrary, all evidence, all research shows that immigration is a powerful good, net good for this country. The vast majority of immigrants, and many of you are immigrants, well north of 75%, are law-abiding contributors to our society. Most immigrants are upwardly mobile. Most immigrants, the great majority, strengthen the economy. They bring determination, and you know this story. They bring grit. They bring a desire to succeed. They bring entrepreneurship. They fill key jobs. And they keep this country a dynamic economy, a dynamic force in the world. Now, that's not to say that it shouldn't be fair and legal. There shouldn't be a fair and legal and straightforward process to enter this country and to remain here. There should be. That is needed. But I've reached a conclusion after these past months that my silence, and I'm talking about myself, my silence reflects an indifference that I am not comfortable with. It reflects a complacency that doesn't reflect who I am as a person. And on some level, to be honest, I feel like I've been a little bit cowardly. And it feels deeply, deeply un-Jewish to me. So I have to stand here tonight, and I have to speak up because I have to make up for my previous transgressions. And I invite you that if you are encouraged by my words, that you join with those who do try to push back against the tide. Just Google the simple phrase, ways to support immigrants, and your screen will be flooded with opportunities and possibilities. You'll be overwhelmed by the diversity of good people, religious people, non-religious people, and organizations, Jewish, not Jewish, Christian, Catholic, Muslim, doing all kinds of noble work. These are the times that I am moved by the words of the German Lutheran pastor, who incidentally was originally an anti-Semite and a supporter of Hitler, Martin Niemöller. After several years of watching what was going on in his country, he changed his tune, and he ultimately was arrested and put in a concentration camp. He survived. He wrote, "First they came," you've heard this before, "first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out. because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. That version of his words appear on the U.S. Holocaust Museum, I might add. He wrote that confessional in 1946. It was his confessional for actions he felt he should have taken but didn't. He woke up too late. I suggest that we dare not repeat the same mistake.